We are going to be doing a psalm spell today, and this one's actually just going to be, we're going to use it to help any of you who need assistance and support in overcoming illness right now, So we're going to use Psalm 116, which is a nice one for that. It has obviously other uses, but that's how we are directing our magic today, is for the overcoming of illness. Now, again, we don't say that magic is a is a curative. We don't, it's not a replacement for medical intervention or doctor's orders. This is just providing spiritual support in your recovery. All right. So what we do is we read the psalm through once without stopping as an incantation in our spell. And then the second step in the formula is to go through and to consider verse by verse and finding and extracting the hidden inner meanings that we can find. There's an infinite amount of those. And we, by doing so, are planting them as thought seeds deep in our mind, where they will take root and grow and produce fruit after their kind. And that is the method of psalm magic. All right, here we go. Psalm 116. I love the Lord because he hath heard my voice and my supplications. Because he hath inclined his ear unto me, therefore I will call upon him as long as I live. The sorrows of death compassed me, and the pains of hell gat hold upon me. I found trouble and sorrow. Then I called upon the name of the Lord. O Lord, I beseech thee, deliver my soul. Gracious is the Lord, and righteous. Yea, our God is merciful. The Lord preserveth the simple. I was brought low, and he helped me. Return unto thy rest, O my soul, for the Lord hath dealt bountifully with thee. For thou hast delivered my soul from death, mine eyes from tears, and my feet from falling. I will walk before the Lord in the land of the living. I believed, therefore have I spoken. I was greatly afflicted. I said in my haste, all men are liars. What shall I render unto the Lord for all his benefits toward me? I will take up the cup of salvation and call upon the name of the Lord. I will pay my vows unto the Lord now in the presence of all his people. Precious in the sight of the Lord is death of his saints. Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints. O Lord, truly I am thy servant. I am thy servant and the son of thine handmaid. Thou hast loosed my bonds. I will offer to thee the sacrifice of thanksgiving, and I will call upon the name of the Lord. I will pay my vows unto the Lord now in the presence of all his people. In the courts of the Lord's house, in the midst of thee, O Jerusalem, praise ye the Lord. All right. Okay, so here we go. I love the Lord because he hath heard my voice and my supplications. Okay, so again, we are looking at the Lord magically. Is not a deity that is separate and distinct from us, not a deity up in the sky, not a male or female, not a being, actually. We are talking about the source, the one singular source of all life. And so God is, the only way to know God is through the qualities of divinity. And so we consider God as being infinite life, perfect love, things like that. Let's go through a few more. We are considering God as being infinite spirit, infinite intelligence, perfect truth, divine truth, infinite principle, the life principle, the principle of life itself, the power that makes your heart beat and keeps it beating, the power that created you and all things, the power that, an intelligence that was able to design any seed to become into any plant, and to design the universe so that the planets revolve around a star, etc., etc. So that's the things that we're considering when we're talking about the Lord. Okay, so it's not some external deity that's jealous and with human traits that is, that we have to supplicate to or to appease. I love the Lord because he hath heard my voice and my supplications. So your voice is your doesn't necessarily have to do with your actual physical voice. Your voice refers to your whenever you communicate, whenever you choose to start a communication, start a conversation. So again, we always say that help never comes unbidden. Otherwise, that would be in the form of an attack or an invasion. So we always have to start that conversation. So I love the Lord because he hath heard my voice and my supplications. Now, when we say supplications in the Psalms, magically supplications are our spells. When we have a specific, especially when we have a specific need. Okay, so because he hath inclined his ear unto me, therefore will I call upon him as long as I live. So what this is describing is that the nature of God is responsiveness. You always get response when you call, and that's why you will call upon him as long as you live. The more you call upon this power, the more response you get. And we tend to not call upon the power in magical ways. Sometimes we call upon the power in a very sort of beseeching, sort of complaining way, and as if it were a separate deity that needed to be appeased. But that's not magical and that's not powerful. The way we call upon the Lord is by claiming what it is that we need, by claiming that our oneness with each of those qualities, and considering each of those qualities and coming up with our own qualities of divinity on our own. That's how you call upon the Lord, and that's how he will, quote, incline his ear unto you. The sorrows of death compassed me, and the pains of hell gat hold upon me. I found trouble and sorrow. So we're putting our, whatever this disease is, in the past tense here. Then called I upon the name of the Lord. We are putting the solution in the past tense. O Lord, I beseech thee, deliver my soul. So we are saying that we've already done this. Gracious is the Lord. So I called upon the name of the Lord. Again, the name of the Lord is the nature. The name of anything, especially in magic, is the nature of those things. So you call upon the name of the Lord by considering the nature of divinity. All of those qualities, list them, rehearse them, go over them and over them and over them. O Lord, I beseech thee, deliver my soul. The way that you beseech the Lord is by claiming, deliver my soul, right? Gracious is, and to deliver your soul means to deliver you out of the problem. In this case, to deliver you out of the illness and into the health. That's how you are delivered. Gracious is the Lord, righteous, yea, our God is merciful. So we're looking at again some qualities here: infinite graciousness, infinite righteousness, infinite mercy. So mercy deals with the fact that mercy and healing are the same thing. When you are healed from an affliction, you've had mercy. That God's been, quote, merciful unto you. Not that God was causing the illness, because that God did not create illness. God did not create suffering. Okay, but God will deliver you from the suffering because God is all powerful and God is infinite love. The Lord preserveth the simple. I was brought low and he helped me. That means you don't need to know anything special in order to get help. You don't need to have a well-developed intellect in order to get the help that you require. So he preserveth the simple. Keep everything clear. Keep everything simple. Keep everything basic. Keep everything more simple than most people think it should be. One of the reasons why magic doesn't work for the bulk of people is because they make it too complicated. They think that complex operations mean powerful operations, and that's not always the case. Return unto thy rest, O my soul, for the Lord hath dealt bountifully with thee. Okay, so you're telling your soul here that it can rest. It can rest because your spell has already come into manifestation. Whether or not you see that manifestation yet with your eyes or you feel it with your body, you claim that it is so, that it has happened. For thou hast delivered my soul from death, mine eyes from tears, and my feet from falling. So these are all very, poetic ways of talking about how you have put this disease in the past. It is gone. It is over. I will walk before the Lord in the land of the living. Okay, so you're going to come before all of these qualities of God in the land of the living. Well, where is the land of the living? The land of the living is in your mind, where infinite life exists. And through that infinite life within your mind, in your soul, in your spirit, from there your body is animated. We don't work backwards. We don't try to heal the body and then take care of the mind later. It's through the healing of the mind that the body is healed. I believed, therefore have I spoken. I was greatly afflicted. I said in my haste, all men are liars. Okay, so we're talking about where the problem started. I believed, therefore have I spoken. I was greatly afflicted. So you believed you were afflicted. You spoke about your illness, right? And you said in your haste that all men are liars, especially men that were people that were trying to help you get through this, right? So when you call all men liars, basically what you're referring to is that state that we have where nothing can help me, nobody can help me, I don't trust anybody, everything's out to get me, right? What shall I render unto the Lord for all of his benefits toward me? So we're asking, what is the payment? What is the payment for the completion of my spell? I will take the cup of salvation and call upon the name of the Lord. So you take upon your cup of salvation, that is a symbol of the healing of the disease in this case, or the solving of your problem, and call upon the name of the Lord. But you see, it is by the calling on the name of the Lord that you gain the cup of salvation. So again, you turn away from the problem and you turn your mind toward the consideration of the qualities of God. List them in your mind over and over and over again. You can say them out loud, you can write them, come up with your own. Consider each of those things. Think of those things instead of your illness. I will pay my vows unto the Lord now in the presence of all his people. How do you pay your vows upon the Lord? By doing the very thing that we've been talking about, by considering those qualities, by thinking about God instead of your problem, by thinking about God instead of all the problems that you see about you. That is how you pay your vows upon the Lord. In the presence of all his people, yes, in the presence of people you could do that, but we're talking always about the people inside your mind, those thought forms within you, in the presence of all of them, the ones that support this and the ones that don't support this, the ones that believe in your problems and your illnesses, and the ones that believe that you're going to be healed. All of those people, all of those thought forms, you are going to pay your vows unto the Lord, meaning that regardless of what you're thinking, regardless of the state of your consciousness, you are putting all of your mind on those qualities of God. Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints. Now, that does not mean that that what God wants mostly is to kill the very people that he loves. The death of his saints means the sacrifice that is made for the good of all. Now, in your mind, the sacrifice, the death of saints in your mind simply means that the saintly part of you is willing to die to who you used to be in favor of embracing the new, in favor of embracing, all of those qualities that you are considering, all those qualities of divinity. So you are willing to turn away completely from that which you thought you were in order to consider these divine qualities instead. So that's the death of his saints. O Lord, truly I am thy servant. I am thy servant and the son of thine handmaid. Thou hast loosed my bonds. So how do you serve God? How do you acknowledge that you're God's servant and the son of his handmaid? Well, by thinking thoughts of God, by considering thoughts of God, by thinking along the lines of God. You want to think along the lines of what is beautiful. You want to think along the lines of what is lovely. You want to think along the lines of what is noble and gorgeous and loving. All of those qualities. If you have idle time on your hands and you are spending that time thinking about your problems, then you are not serving God. If you are spending that time thinking about the qualities of God, you are serving God. And by serving God, in this, but just defining it in these terms, by serving God, you are in effect healing. Not only yourself, but everybody that you're around. So it's not going to make things worse for you to think in terms of God rather than in terms of your problem, but it will help. I will offer to thee the sacrifice of thanksgiving and will call upon the name of the Lord. This is a lot of repetition here, but it's on purpose. So how do you offer a sacrifice of thanksgiving? Well, in the old days, it was usually cattle, right? So whatever is valuable to you, that's what you give to the Lord. So this is the time probably when people won't want to be tithing, won't want to be giving money to God's works. And this is the time when people will need to do that the most, because that is the way to open up the floodgates. But that's not the only way to offer sacrifice of thanksgiving. Whatever you ask God, you claim that you are being shown the best way to offer thanksgiving, the sacrifice of thanksgiving. You are shown the best way for you to give, because you must give back. You must give back to the work. And I will call upon the name of the Lord. The only way to call upon the name of something is to consider its nature. It's not by repeating the Hebrew God names over and over again. Yes, that's important. Yes, we have operations for that. We do that. We love that. It's wonderful. But that's not what this is referring to. This is referring to what those names represent, considering the qualities of God. I will pay my vows unto the Lord now in the presence of all his people. Again, the way you pay your vows in the presence of all his people is regardless of what the thought forms that are active in your conscious mind right now, you choose to turn toward the consideration of the qualities of divinity over and over and over again. That is the magic seed here for healing that we're talking, that is being delivered to us through this spell. In the courts of the Lord's house, in the midst of thee, O Jerusalem, praise ye the Lord. Well, all of Jerusalem, we're talking about the entirety of your mind, not just the exalted parts of your mind, not just the ego mind, not just the heathen, not just all of it, just all of it, the entirety of your mind. You are commanding to sit and contemplate those qualities of divinity. Let's just go over a few of them. Again, what is infinite life? What is the life principle? What does it feel like when you just sit and you consider your heartbeat? And you just go back and you consider, what's keeping that going? Where is that energy coming from? Who is that? What is that? That's what we're talking about. When you think in terms of infinite, perfect love, what is that? That is the stuff out of which you were created. Perfect love. Absolute perfect love. You are an extension of perfect love. And love and light are synonymous in this case. You are an extension of light. You are literally a star, because that's how you were created. So you see, you can go through each of these so many different qualities of divinity and consider what they are for yourself and how you're related to them. And when you notice that you're obsessing over your problem, in this case we're dealing with illness, just gently bring your mind back to the contemplation of the qualities of divinity, especially while you're working on the spell. Now, when you're not working on the spell, you can just forget about it. But when you notice yourself obsessing over whatever your problem is, you can take a moment and just give yourself a little treatment by saying, okay, I'm just going to take the next, minute or 2 minutes and turn away from the problem again and consider some qualities of divinity. You'll notice a huge shift just in how you feel, but also this will really support you in the healing that is your birthright. All right, well, this has been awesome as always. I can't wait to talk to you again. And until then, blessed be.